Welcome to a Gran Turismo 6 quick match tutorial. Today I'm going to show y'all how I was able to do my best lap in the 2004 Dodge Ram. This game technically classifies it as just a Ram, like without the Dodge. But in 2004 the Ram subdivision didn't exist yet, so it is actually a Dodge. That's why I say Dodge Ram. If it were like a 2017 Ram, it would just be Ram, but 2004 it was a Dodge Ram. But anyway, no matter what you call it, it's still pretty cotton picking fast. And I'll show y'all how I was able to do my best lap in it. And my best lap in it so far is a 133.5. It ain't quite as fast as some of the top GSXs and NSXs and such, but it can keep up with about anything, and it can win quite a few races too if you can run a 30.35 with it. And I'll show y'all how I was able to run the 30.35, and I'll show y'all the tune at the end. Start off, I'll show you the run up to the best lap so you can see how to get the most momentum into that lap, and then I'll show you the lap itself. To start off, the Ram with this tune is actually kind of loose, but it's definitely controllable. It's controllable to the way if you can even pick how you want to drive it. You can drive it all like manually and stuff and keep it in control and all that and drive it precision, or you can drift with it. Any way you want to drive it, it can drive that way. And also with the Ram, it does the bumps perfectly fine. You can hit the rumble strips and use all the track possible with really no disadvantage whatsoever. And you know you have a good run up to the line if you're going about 123 at the line. This ain't like the GT Sport where you can restart. But, I mean, you can do these as many times as you want with no consequences if you wreck whatsoever. This ain't like GT Sport also, because there ain't any driver rating or whatever. So if you mess up, it doesn't even really matter. For this, again, it's a Ram, so I can take the bumps fine. Taking that little dip or whatever that's called, the little incline there ain't going to hurt it. Landing will still make it fine. And then use all the allowable track here. I think if you go a little bit farther than this, it's a penalty, but you can go pretty far on the grass without it being a penalty. Go about 107, 106 through there, and then you make it through there fine. And then just full throttle, easy bit here, straight away. And for this turn, get all the way towards that rumble strip, and I guess you can get on it if you want. Start braking a little bit after the rumble strip start. And then a little bit of trail braking, but not really too bad. Get a little bit under 60 miles an hour, and then full throttle out. The Ram is four-wheel drive, so it has a heck of a heap of acceleration, and you don't necessarily have to worry about it being too loose. Again, this tune does make it loose, but even if you do skid a little bit through here, it still has so much grip it ain't really going to hurt it. What it might lose skidding a little bit and accelerating out of a turn like this, it's going to gain back around the more high-speed turns and then some. And for the next turn, brake a little bit after that timing line there, that yellow timing line, and go a little bit above 60 until you get about the midpoint of the turn, then get a little bit below. Once you're there, full throttle out, and then get as close to that wall or mountain or hill or whatever you want to call that as possible without hitting it. Those little, not really rumble strips, but side areas are perfectly fine to go on as far as I know of any vehicle, and especially a Dodge Ram. And just don't hit those, but get as close to those as possible. For this next big turn, brake about there, and then just go into it. This is a turn where there's probably a lot of lines that work. The higher line you take, the more momentum you can carry, but it's slower in general because you're using up more track and therefore going a farther distance. I take a lower line through here and go as close to that hill as possible and then accelerate out, which makes it go as close to that hill as possible. And then straightaway point, just easy throttle, just full throttle, not too hard here. Enjoy the view of the pretty, like, all this stuff that you've seen since GT1. And then for here, start braking at a little over 120 if I remember correctly. And then going to this turn at about mid-70s miles an hour. I'm going to 74, it looks like. Going inside here, and you know you have a good inside line there if you can see the like, pillar there, but don't hit the pillar, obviously. And then if you go full throttle there, that should naturally carry your car close to that wall. But you don't want to stay on that wall. You want to go back out to the outside again, so that way you can get a wider line into this turn so you can carry more speed. And then you can carry a little over 70 miles an hour here. That rumble strip there is perfectly fine to hit. As far as I know, all the rumble strips are perfectly fine to hit in the Ram because it's a pickup truck. It does them fine. And then that'll carry your truck towards that wall, and it'll be fine there as long as you don't hit it like all the other ones. For this turn, start braking early and toward a trail brake for here. I know this does the best because this does skid a little bit if you don't trail brake. But if you do that correctly, you can go at about 57 or so at the apex and then full throttle out. And then if you trail brake, generally you won't skid there and you can get all the momentum off possible. And for the next turn, I think all the vehicles are kind of wobbly around here. And the Ram is drifty, so it ain't necessarily the most stable through here, but I mean still, it's a heavy four-wheel drive pickup. It ain't bad. Just be leery of it. But once you get stable back, you can pretty much go full throttle pretty much immediately once you're stable and close to the bottom there. And full throttle off there. And for the next turns, go a little bit slower through here. Just let off a little bit here. Get on that apex. And then that'll carry your car towards the next apex. And go out a little bit before you start making that turn. And then you can use quite a bit of the grass here, full throttle through that turn. The next turn you do have to let off a little bit. Your own discretion here too, because this is the last turn of the race and it ain't that big of a straightaway. Don't kill your lap on the very last turn trying to overdo it. And I was able to do it at about 110, and then once you're off that turn, and as long as you've got a good angle, just full throttle, and then you'll be at the line. And if you want the best lap possible, do not go towards the right. Just stay on this so it's the least distance traveled. And then boom, that should be your best lap. And my best lap, as you can see there, is a 133.512. I think I can do a little bit better than that, but not that much better than that. And especially because this ain't a qualifying thing, it's just in a race thing. It's harder to do consistent laps because it's 3 laps. One of the laps you can't get better because it's a start-off lap and then it ends and then you have to restart and then go to another 3 laps. It ain't quite as consistent. But eventually with practice you still get a pretty pick a good lap. And then now for the tune, it's sports hard tires required for the race. For the suspension, I've actually shown the Ram tune before, but not in a long time, and it's the same tune. 170 for the front, 120 for the back, so that way it turns better. I'm pretty sure that's not the most realistic, but in this game it works. For the spring rate, lowest in the front and highest in the rear. Dampers, compression, and anti-roll bars, I'm pretty sure are the same for any region you're in. Camber and tow, none. It's good how it is. Brakes, I have it at 6.7. I haven't really fiddled with the brakes that much. It's been on 6.7 for a long time now. Transmission, flip, and then final gear. I'll have to check here. I can't even really remember. Hey, so it's 3,400. I think actually you can go a little bit lower than that. I've been having it higher for drafting, and it seems like either when I'm in a draft it's not much, or it doesn't have that much of an effect because eventually someone will move out of the way or whatever. More times than not, you're not even going to be in much of a drafting race, so you can probably make that a little bit more close of gear ratio there. And for the differential, 5s for torque and braking, but for acceleration, 20 in front, 40 in back, and then 35, 65 for the split. That's why I have it a little bit more in the back, because it's more biased towards the back. That makes it drift a little bit better, honestly. It makes it more fun. And then for power, no oil, second to highest engine, and then everything else here on except for the manifold, the the turbocharger and or supercharger and intake, and then power 99.3. I don't think the oil is dirty on this yet. I don't know how. I can't remember the last time I changed the oil on this, and it has a lot of miles. But I don't know. Maybe quick matches don't hurt the oil. I don't really know. And then for the weight, all the weight off, and then where it is doesn't matter because all the weight's off. But anyway, that's the tune and the run for the Dodge Ram, and well, Rams always mystify, and with this tutorial, you can make your Ram always mystify as well. And as always, yeehaw!